Ross is co-founder, president, and CEO at Gerber Kawasaki Wealth and Investment Management. He joins us, lucky for us, via Zoom from Santa Monica, California. Hey, Ross, good to have you here. Your fund, by the way, your ETF is up more than 14% year to date. Tesla's your biggest shareholder, at least according to our data. Talk to us about pursuing a board seat on Tesla. Why do you want to do it, and what progress have you made towards that end?
Well, I think mostly it's because I feel like it's time for Tesla's board to sort of take a more active role in some of the main issues that involve Tesla, which seem to be, I don't know, sort of ignored. And a lot of founder-led companies, grow to be very, very successful. And then they reach a point like where Tesla has, where certain things just need to change. And I don't think these are, bad things. I think it's a good thing for Tesla to focus on, really three main things that, I'm most concerned about, which is, public relations, marketing, and lobbying, so that things like full self-driving, are, appropriately understood by the public, and the risks and rewards. Secondly, I'd love to see Tesla focus on the customer. The consumer is constantly having bad experiences with Tesla service, and I just think somebody needs to really be focused on the customer over at Tesla. And then thirdly, a succession plan. Elon is clearly running Twitter here, and that's his priority, which is fine. But if something ever happened to Elon, he is working, like 20 hours a day, what's the plan for Tesla? So these things don't seem to be answered from Tesla. And so now I'm pushing for a board seat because I think it's time for there to be some accountability to these issues.
So Ross, you mentioned the PR situation when it comes to Tesla. To what extent are you concerned about Elon's impact on the company's PR?
Well, I think that, for a long time, we got a lot of free advertising out of Elon, and there was a perception of Elon that was much more positive today, now that Elon runs Twitter and has taken many political positions. And I think it's his right to do that, but it's certainly unfortunate how many customers and shareholders here, at least that I know, and which are a lot, that really have now taken a negative view towards Elon. And it's really kind of sad to me. And the bottom line is it's time for Tesla to build its brand around Tesla and about, the values that Tesla really stands for, and versus what Elon's values are. And so I don't really have any issue with his per se values, but we're in the selling car business, and I don't know if that's what he's thinking every day when he gets up and tweets. So I think Tesla can take an active role in shaping the public's perception of its wonderful products and services.
Hey, listen, our reporting by our Ed Ludlow and Caroline Hyde noted how you have a good relationship with some of the biggest shareholders in Tesla, someone who I've talked to a lot, Kathy Wood of ARK Investment, and also Bailey Gifford. Have they said that they would support you in your pursuit of a seat?
Well, I haven't talked to any of the institutions yet because I haven't, I'm still officially got to send out my letter and get this going, which
but you will
I'm
do
working
that
on right now.
You will do
yeah,
that?
I will definitely be doing that. And we're certainly, and that's one of the reasons I'm running, is just so that there is an option for people. I'm not like doing this for any like personal gain. Let me tell you, it's a very time consuming process. And most of my clients and friends, are sort of like, we want you focusing on our money, not running Tesla or dealing with Tesla. And that said, I just feel compelled that there needs to be a choice for investors, individual investors, so that they actually even know somebody on the board. A lot of people are like, oh, we support Tesla's board currently. I'm like, do you even know who's on the board? And they're like, no. And
would you like to see, there's another person, Elon's obviously on the board, but Kimball Musk is also on the board. Would you like to, do you think it is just a board of people who really like Elon? And there needs to be changes?
Yeah, I do. And granted, I really like Elon too. So I'm not a negative person here. This is a friendly activist. I'm trying to help Tesla in a way that they're not good at. Okay. So I'm a marketing PR kind of guru. That's kind of my thing. And I think I could help the company dramatically. And I've been doing it for a long time behind the scenes. And a lot of people don't realize that behind the scenes, I've been, advising them for years and years and years about the way they handle many different elements of their marketing and PR. And that said, they've implemented a lot of these things over the years, and it's been very successful. But I think at this point, Tesla is now a $600 billion company, and things like there was an anti-Tesla ad that was run during the Super Bowl, and how this even happened is mind-blowing to me. And then there was no counter to that. And if you look at the headlines, they're just very misleading, and it becomes very tiring.
Well, Ross, I know you mentioned that you are a fan of Tesla, of course, but you would be referred to as a dissident shareholder if this went through and management did not support your efforts, which is interesting here. I wonder, have you spoken to Elon?
No, last time we spoke was on a Twitter Spaces in December, where I addressed many of the issues that I had, and he addressed them back in a way that I was pretty happy with. But, we still don't have a CEO of Twitter. And that was one of the things, I was hoping for, that he would, refocus on Tesla and find a CEO of Twitter, and maybe even work a little bit less on creating, political comments that create so much dissonance among so many Tesla owners.
Right.
But, I don't expect him to change his opinion or what he wants to say on Twitter. But I do think his focus, he's working 3 jobs. He's admitted it himself. He's exhausted. He's working 7 days a week.
But in that Twitter space that you mentioned, Ross, Musk did tell you that Twitter is about 10% of the complexity of Tesla. Did you believe him when he told you that?
I think he meant that after he's done dealing with what he's dealing with.
Okay.
But I don't think he's right. I think Twitter is a beast. It's super difficult to manage, and we're coming into an election cycle very soon. And boy, it's a hard thing to be Twitter during an election, clearly. And so I just think this is a very big task that he's taken on. And once again, I hope he said he would get a CEO for Twitter. And I think that's one of the things I'm pushing for. The sooner, the better he can have more help and leadership at Twitter, the more he can refocus on what's important to me, which is getting the Cybertruck out and scaling production.
Right.
And we've got battery production scaling. And Megapack. So it's a very important time for Tesla. And I just think he's a human being. And at some point, you can't work 7 days a week, 20 hours a day.
Couple quick questions, because we've only got a couple of minutes left. Tesla shares are up about 60% year to date. They're still down more than 50% from that high back in early November of 2021. Ross, first of all, have you been buying at all this year and adding to your position?
Well, yeah, within my fund, we've added to our position. So we were able to buy Tesla shares cheaper to add to our position when it went down. Our
last year or this year? Last year? Or
this year and at the end of last year and early this year. I can only really comment about my public fund because what happens in my firm, varies by client and risk and all these other factors. But within my fund, we've added to Tesla. It is a 10% weighting currently, a little less than 10% weighting currently, which is the highest weighting that we have for a position. So Tesla's our number one stock. I love the company. I think it has a wonderful future, but I would like to see some changes in the way that they're running the business.
Final quick question for you. A lot of retail investors, as you know, have 100% of their funds in Tesla. Where do you see the biggest upside for them?
Well, right now, I think the biggest upside for Tesla is, number one, successfully scaling their production in Berlin and Austin of the Model Y. Number two, getting the Cybertruck out this year at some point. And number three, it's clearly, Megapack production. Energy storage is going to be a phenomenal business for Tesla over time. And now they're ramping this business. So trucks and Megapacks is really the next level for Tesla. And so, we're on the verge of a very good growth stage for Tesla over the next several years, but I'd love to see them really focused on their image in the public.
Ross, 2 quick questions. Twitter, if he wasn't pursuing Twitter, do you think you and I would be having this question very quickly?
No, if he wasn't involved with Twitter, I don't think we would be having this conversation at all.
And you still want Elon running this company?
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. Okay. What I really want is him refocus back on Tesla.
Listen, so appreciate your time. Great conversation, Ross, and looking forward to seeing what comes next. Ross Gerber, President and Chief Executive Officer at Gerber Kawasaki Wealth and Investment Management, investor in Tesla. It is his top holding. We heard him say 10% weighting in that fund of his, and also an owner of the cars, joining us via Zoom from Santa Monica, California. Stock's been on a tear, but people want something a little different.
Just a little more.